everybody, happy Wicked Wednesday and welcome to Shivers. This Friday, the film Haunting in Venice comes to theaters, providing us with a tale that crosses the threshold between murder mystery and horror. This genre and style is so fulfilling and dynamic, and originated from none other than writer Agatha Christie. Today, we're talking about some of her famous stories and tales and her history overall. Dame Agatha Mary Clarissa Christie was an English writer known for her 66 detective novels and 14 short story collections. She was born in 1890 and died in 1976, writing her first story, The Mysterious Affairs at Styles, at the age of 30. This story kicked off using the character Detective Poirot, who becomes the detective in a number of her other stories. Each of her stories are standalone, however, there are storylines that tie together through the characters being seen in more than one book. Throughout the years, a number of films have been made based off of her stories, bringing the total to 56 Agatha Christie films. One of the first, if not the first, known Agatha Christie movie is called And Then There Were None. Back in 8th grade English, we read this story, and I would give a lot of credit to my love for horror and love for twists and turns in storytelling to this book and this movie, which we also watched in that same class. This was a story from 1935 and was made into a movie in 1945. It's very old, but the story is so strong. There are even other cartoons out there that make fun of the story and kind of pick apart some of the storytelling aspects of the tale itself. There's an episode of Family Guy, and it's a Halloween episode, but they're all in this mansion and people are dying off, and it all comes from And Then There Were None. A UK movie came out in 1965 called 10 Little Indians and was remade in 1987, and it is the exact same story. This is all coming from And Then There Were None. The synopsis for 10 Little Indians is a group of 10 strangers are invited to a party at a mansion in the Alps. Each arrives expecting entertainment. However, a recorded message from their absent hosts informs them that each guest has been responsible for someone's death, and consequently, each of them will be killed. Quickly, members of the party begin to turn up dead. American Hugh Lombard and the beautiful Anne Clyde try to determine the identity of the murderer before they become the next victims. In terms of And Then There Were None, the only differences in the story is that we don't know how all of these people are tied together in And Then There Were None. They are all at a dinner party, no one knows who they are, everybody is very elegant, very lavish. Some people are on the opposite spectrum entirely, but you get to the end and there's only one person left, or no people left. But what do they all have in common? What is going on? And I think that sort of storytelling lends to a number of films today. You can see that same vibe, that same trend, but incredibly original, and I can't recommend that story itself enough. Some more of the modern stories of hers. We have Murder on the Orient Express. This was made into a movie originally in 1945 and was remade in 2017. The synopsis for this movie in particular includes a lavish trip through Europe, quickly unfolds into a race against time to solve the murder aboard a train. When an avalanche stops the Orient Express dead in its tracks, the world's greatest detective, Detective Poirot, arrives to interrogate all passengers and search for clues before the killer can strike again. Moving on, before I tie everything together, next movie in the series we have Death on the Nile. This came out last year in 2022. Synopsis is Hercule Poirot, Detective Poirot, Egyptian's vacation aboard a glamorous river steamer turns into a terrifying search for a murderer when a picture-perfect couple's idyllic honeymoon is tragically cut short. Finally, we have the newest, which comes out on Friday, A Haunting in Venice. Belgian sleuth Hercule Poirot investigates a murder while attending a Halloween seance at a haunted palazzo in Venice, Italy. All three of these movies, all three of these books are all tied together, and they do go in order. They're made in order, they go in order, and what they have in common is this idea of the detective, a murder, who did it, what does everyone have in common? We're all here for one thing. We're all here just random people riding on a train. We're all here just random people on a honeymoon. We're all here at a seance on Halloween. I think these stories are incredibly unique. I think that it truly bridges that gap between something that is more quirky and twisted, like Knives Out and Glass Onion, and something that's just actual horror and a thriller. This meets that happy medium. These types of movies I would consider family friendly. I think that they are, again, incredibly unique. I think that they're great ways of just telling these murder mystery stories and all the twists and turns, bringing it all together, with it traditionally being only one or two people involved in the planning behind it. I think it's genius. And these movies are very high quality. These are Hollywood movies, so you know they're going to be good. A review for Haunting in Venice will come out next Friday after I go see it in the movie, so stay tuned for that. But that kind of wraps up our list of Agatha Christie books. Again, there are 66 novels of hers, 14 short stories, so check out some of her older works. She's been dead for a long time, but her stories still stand up. And in case it's not obvious by this point, I am a fan. So, thank you for listening to today's Wicked Wednesday. Write in the comments if you like one of her stories, if you think that they're all the same. What's your opinion? Speaking of murder mysteries as well, I will be hosting a murder mystery party on September 23rd. Everyone's welcome. You can come virtually if you're not in the Raleigh area. If you are in Raleigh, come in person to Solely Holistic for that event. Everyone will get their own individual character. There will be 3 areas. One table will be New Orleans, one table will be Philadelphia, one table will be New York City. And the time frame will be between 1920 and 1959, the first recorded Grammy Awards. There's a murder at the Grammy Awards, and who did it? Hopefully my storytelling can live up to something like Agatha Christie, but we'll be in for a fun night. So check that out, as well as other events on the Shivers Meetup page. So thank you again for listening, and continue to hear some more of this stuff as we continue to kick off spooky season.